Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Shabbat class, the 4th of March, 2023. The topic in the room will be some things need to be rightly divided. We're going to look at some things that need to be, the light need to be shined on and get some clarity on it. So I'm asking everybody to go to our YouTube channel. It's Prophets Awakening, and check out our videos. There's a lot of information given, and all the videos that's on the channel will connect dots for you, lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah, the first 5 books that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our Sabbath class. We're going to do our normal, which is our moment of silence, our Sabbath prayer, Psalms, do some current events. Got a little need to know information, then we'll open it up for some Q&A dialogue. Then we'll go into the topic of the class, which is some things need to be rightly divided. Okay. This moment of silence is for the strong one of Israel, the Holy One, Lord of Hosts, and all that he's doing to bring about our deliverance from the lands of our captives, our oppressors. O Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God, and we make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongs unto thee, but unto us confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and in all Israel that are near and that are far off, and through all the countries whither thou hast driven us because of our trespass, that we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil has come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas, Caribbean, Great Britain, and Africa. O Lord, according to thy righteousness, I beseech thee, that thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city Jerusalem and thy people and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer, cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ear to hear and to behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do and defer not for thy sake, for thy own sake, O my Lord. For thy people in your land need you desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay, shalom. What's up, Mike? Okay, so with that being said, I want to read a psalm. Okay. I'm going to read Psalms 37. Okay. It's the true state of the wicked. It's a Psalm of David. Psalm of David. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and they shall wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord, do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thy heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of a man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider this place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn up the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and the needy, and to slay such as build an upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arm of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borroweth, and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. But such as be blessed of him who shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now I'm old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful, and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil, and do good, and dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and he forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever. But the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hands, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because of they trust in him. Okay, so that was Psalms 37. It's a true state of the wicked. Any comments on that? Okay, so I was looking at verse 38, and just like I was saying, they've given us definitions and interpretations of things that's not so, and it leads us down the wrong road. So it says 37, Psalms 37 and verse 37 says, mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. So let's look at that and see what this transgression is pertaining to. You go to okay, go to Daniel right quick. So they give me the assumption that, you know, if somebody doing wrong, they transgressors. But it's another take to that. And get Daniel. Okay. Then chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8. And we're dealing with this king of fierce countenance. I told you, Antioch Epiphanes. So it says, we'll start at 21. Behold, the same horn. Let me see. Okay. No. Yeah. 8 and 21. 19. Daniel 8 and 19. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, for the time appointed the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of the Medes and Persians. So that's the second beast. And the first beast we know is Babylon. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. The great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. So we in the Greek kingdom. Third beast, right? Now, that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in its own power. So Alexander died. He divided the Greek kingdom, third beast, into four parts. Because he divided it into four generals. Then 24, 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, the Greek kingdom, when the transgressors, see that? So the Greeks are the transgressors. I'm going to go somewhere else to show you that. So it says, in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors, see that? Because they from Cain. The serpent was a transgressor, and he cohabitated with Eve. Cain a transgressor. They ain't gonna never do right. So he got a seed line. It started in Genesis chapter 4. Let's look at that right quick. Genesis chapter 4. Look at it. Genesis chapter 4. See right here, 16, 4 and 16. Cain went out from the presence of the Lord to work in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived for Enoch. And he built a city, called the name of the city after the name of his son, right? Enoch. And Enoch was born Irid. Irid begot Thulah. So all these are descendants of Cain. These are transgressors. So let's go back to Daniel 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, right? A king of fierce countenance, understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully. He shall prosper, practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. The Israelites, the holy people. Cain descendants. Antioch Epiphanes is out of Cain descendants. Transgressors. This Antichrist came to Jerusalem, destroyed the holy people and the temple after the Chaldeans came. Okay, now let's look at another precept. First Maccabees in the Apocrypha. Okay. First Maccabees. So in the First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. This is the prophecy right here I just read in Daniel coming to pass. It was being interpreted by Gabriel to Daniel in the book of Daniel, but it came to pass right here. It came to pass after Alexander of Macedon, the son of Philip, who had came from the land of Checham, had utterly defeated Darius, the king of the Medes and Persians, that he reigned in his stead as he had before reigned over Greece. And he waged many wars, captured the fortresses, slaughtered the kings of the earth, and he made his way to the ends of the earth and despoiled a multitude of nations. The whole earth was quiet before him. He became exalted. His heart was uplifted. He mustered a very mighty army, ruled over the lands and over rulers of the heathens, and they paid him tribute. Afterwards, he fell sick and knew that he was going to die. So he called his distinguished servants who had been brought up with him and divided his kingdom, this Greek kingdom, among them while he was still alive. Alexander reigned 12 years when he 12 years when he died. Here we go right here. His servants succeeded him, each in his own dominion. After his death, they all put on crowns, as did their sons after them, for many years. And they did much evil. These are transgressors right here, the Greeks. They did much evil on the earth, and there sprang from them a sinful shoot. So that's DNA, a sinful shoot. All the rest of them wicked as hell. And what came forth from them was a wicked ass shoot. That's Antiochus. So it says, a sinful shoot named Antiochus Epiphanes, son of King Antiochus. He had been a hostage in Rome, and he became king in the 137th year of the Greek kingdom. So we see the Greeks as the transgressors, the wicked, the people that he talking about in 2 Samuel. My people shall rest from the children of wickedness. So he's the transgressor. So just like we see that, that's a wicked root, wicked seed line that came from Cain. And then, so we go to Isaiah right quick to do a comparison and contrast right quick. We go to Isaiah chapter 11. And it's chapter 11, verse 1. This is the righteous branch that came from Adam. It says, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. See that? They ain't talking about nothing supernatural. Talking about DNA. We just saw that the transgressors over there, Cain descendants. And Cain came forth from the serpent. When he cohabitated with Eve. Right here, David came out of Jesse. It's a righteous branch, all the way from Adam. Okay? You ain't got to put nothing supernatural, spiritual on that. You got to read it for what it's telling you. Okay? So anyway, any comments? Okay.
Yeah. You said that Enoch came from Cain also?
It's two Enochs. Go to them. Yeah. This well the foundation I'm saying being laid when you start getting what's really going on. So go to Genesis chapter 4, verse 16. Yeah, let me get my other Bible.
Okay, I'm there.
Let me get my other Bible. I got one was messed up, other total pages up in it. Genesis chapter 4, verse 16 says, and Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. So this is the wicked seed right here. He's naming his sons with the same names as Adam. Go to Adam. Go to Genesis chapter 5. You in Genesis 5?
Yes.
Okay, look at verse 21. 20. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and he begot Methuselah. See, that's two Enochs. You see that? You see it?
Okay, I see it, and that means Adam. The Enoch is Adam's son.
Yeah, the one in chapter 5 is Adam's descendants, and Daniel Genesis 4 and 16 through 23 is Cain's descendants. They separated because Adam ain't none of Cain's father.
Okay, so that's just like Old Testament and New Testament. They're just trying to copy, huh? So Cain was copying, or Cain named his son Enoch, which and Adam's son Enoch is older than Cain's son Enoch.
Cain's son older than Adam's son.
Oh.
Yeah, Cain's son. Cain was the firstborn from Eve. And so he had Enoch way before the Enoch that Adam had Cain.
Okay.
But that's not only it. You keep going to 18. Enoch was born Irid begot Methuselah. Methuselah begot Methuselah. Two Methuselahs. See that? You got a son called Methuselah, and Adam got a son called Methuselah. Then verse 18 says, and Methuselah begot Lamech, 2 Lamechs. Noah daddy named Lamech, and here go a Lamech right here.
So Adam copied off of Cain.
No, Cain copied off Adam. You got to understand. Cain is being schooled by the serpent, by Samuel, Lucifer. He being schooled, so he already starting right here, trying to cause confusion because he naming names that he know Adam's son's gonna be named.
Oh, so he just knew it before. Adam.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's a book in heaven. These angels looking at. That's how they're able to prophesy. Let's look at it. So, in Daniel, right quick. Go to Daniel, chapter 10. Daniel chapter 10.
Okay, I got it.
I'm in Daniel 10, verse 20. Right? You see it?
Yeah, I see it. I got it.
So what's going on? Gabriel came to Daniel. Gabriel is the angel, Daniel the man. He come to tell him what's getting ready to happen. The way he can do it is they're looking at this book. So he says, then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee, and now I will return to fight with thee, with the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Greece shall come. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth. That's the book right there. That's in heaven, the book in heaven. And he tell him, and there's none that can hold with me in these things but Michael and your prince. Gabriel and Michael the ones. And that's why the angels are able to come down and tell them what's getting ready to happen. They go tell the people. It's events that's happening, gonna happen in the future. And so that's what, right? So that's what Michael is talking about right here. Go to Isaiah 44, Isaiah 43. Right quick. Okay. Isaiah 40. Like I say, once all these precepts start coming together, it's a whole other story going on. But 43, and this is what he's telling them right here. 43, starting at verse 7. Even that everyone that is called by my name, see that everybody ain't called by his name, Israelites. He wrestled with his angel, the angel changed Jacob's name. So they all called by the name he gave Jacob. That's what he's talking about. So he's talking about Israelites. So he says, everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes and the deaf that have ears, and let all nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this? See, can't nobody else do this. Who among them can declare this and show us former things? See that? Who else can do that? Come tell you what's getting ready to happen in the future before it happens. So he says, let all nations be gathered together and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses that they may be justified, and let them hear and say it is true. Can't nobody do that. He calling them out. He said, you go get somebody that can do what I'm doing. And then the punchline is verse 10, talking to the Israelites, especially the Levites in the temple, his servants. He says, ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand I am he. And before me there was no God formed. So we know this ain't Yahweh because didn't nobody form Yahweh. Michael the first one formed. Neither shall there be after me. Can't nobody else do this. And Daniel just told us, Gabriel just told Daniel, it ain't nobody else that's looking on this book but me and you. Me and your prince Michael. Can nobody else do that? And so an example of that is, you know what I'm saying? The example of that is Genesis chapter 18. Let's look at it. Genesis 18 says, he comes to tell Abraham. Abraham wanted a seed. He didn't have no son. And he telling the Lord, when you gonna give me a son? So to that to take up after me. So he comes, and in Genesis 18, verse 9, and they said unto him, where and they said unto him, these three angels said to Abraham, where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, 9 months. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. So he prophesied right here, cause he didn't read this on the book. The scriptures are true. So he came and telling Abraham, you're gonna have a son. This time in 9 months, you're gonna have a son. So go to verse chapter 20, 22, chapter 21. And this the prophecy coming to pass. Birth to Isaac. It says, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. But Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age at the set time which God had spoken to him. So we know who spoke to him, the Lord of hosts. But they got God there. Say which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. So remember the conversation the other night, right, about the call seed. Here you go, right here. Verse 3. Abraham called. See that? Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. So that just once the light is shine on that open up the whole, open up the script.
That was chapter 8 of Genesis.
18. Then I went to 21. 1 minute.
Okay.
So that's where they get that the saying where they say that your life is already written.
Oh, we got to give him a minute. He's coming back to the
No,
mic.
I'm good. What you say, D-Ray?
You know how they say your life is already
What you
written.
say?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, right.
They talking
Exactly.
about that book.
Right. Well, yeah, it's just like somebody brought that up the other night. I didn't really get a chance to go in on it, but he said when you understand call seed, chosen seed. So he told Jeremiah, before you was in your mother's womb, I knew you. So when you write divide that, he telling Jeremiah, before you was in your mother's womb, I called you. Okay, you get that? That make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he calling all these people. That's like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All the men they was ordained, and so they name means something. They name mean, so you say what's the name? What you mean? It's something else going on that haven't been explained to us that our forefathers knew. So when the Most High formed Michael, when he called him Michael, that's the essence. That's what he put in him. That's why they asked them what their names are. So our forefathers, they named our kids the same way. They ain't go look in no book and then come up with some random name. The name is the essence of that person is sown into that person. That's why they call them that. Like Noah. Noah was going to be save Adam's descendants from the flood. That's why he called him Noah. Their names tell you everything because that name is understanding what's going on is being sown into that person or that spirit, because that's what it is. It's a spirit, and the Most High put it inside a body. That's why he asked the question, where was you at when I placed the spirit in the body at conception? Okay, yeah, okay. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Okay, we can go to some current events. Okay.
has always been the best ally of the United States, but now it seems that the best allies of the United States may have to become enemies, because for their own interests, the United States does not care about the lives of the people of the European Union, not only to increase energy prices but also to bring European companies to the United States, which makes the EU masses very angry. Hello everyone, welcome to Deep In Moments. The influence of the United States in the international arena has recently begun to decline seriously.
So the reason I'm playing this is to show you the Lord of hosts and the Most High's hand. This is one of his characteristics. I showed you who these people are. They're the transgressors. He says he's going to turn them in against each other. That's how you get rid of them. So we see what happened. But forever and a day, I know as long as I've been alive, the Europe and America been in one, working together. The reason why they still ruling. What we see right here now, Most High is coming in between that. It's falling, that alliance is falling apart.
The anti-NATO peace protests in more than 30 cities, including the capital Paris. According to reports, the demonstrations are led by the French right-wing Patriot Party and its leader Florian Philippot, whose main demands are anti-NATO, anti-war, and anti-American. The crowd was extremely vocal, saying they were fed up with the war and did not want to be involved in it. The US position is the opposite. They are eager for the war to remain. According to the Russian media, Putin has repeatedly tried to find Zelensky for peace talks, but was rejected by Biden in the first place. For the United States, as long as the war is still being fought, they can continue to sell arms. And after the bombing of the Russian energy pipeline, Nord Stream, Europe can only rely on US energy. So the Biden administration does not want the war to stop. The United States and Europe are friends on the surface, but in fact, they are only using each other. As long as they can get the benefits, the United States, even if the Europeans stirred up the world, because this is the consistent style of the United States. The Asian side of the United States has acquiesced to Japan's purchase of ultra-long-range offensive missiles. At first, the United States is very worried about Japan's military expansion plans, but for the interests of the United States, simply do not care so much. The Nord Stream energy pipeline is the main artery of Europe. After blowing it up, the cost of energy in Europe will be higher than it can afford, and at the same time, it is necessary to provide military assistance to Ukraine from time to time. These European countries have long been fed up. On February 26, tens of thousands of people in the French capital Paris, holding banners saying "For Peace," called on France to withdraw from NATO and the European Union and stop sending weapons to Ukraine. And in interviews with the media, some of them openly blamed the United States. They protested against the role played by the United States in the Russian-Ukrainian war, and hoped that French President Macron would step down quickly and stop being encouraged by the United States. Angry French people to NATO and the EU flag directly tore down to express their dissatisfaction, can see that the United States is currently losing the trust of the EU. France has completely fired the anti-American first shot. It is certain that there will continue to come out of the protest demonstration against NATO is against the United States. This march shows that everyone on NATO. The march shows that we have reached the point of no longer tolerate NATO. For France, although the face is considered a permanent member of the United Nations, but France is usually not considered to have diplomatic independence, especially in this Russia-Ukraine conflict, but also willing to act as a little brother of the United States, leading the entire European Union to Ukraine to provide a sky-high amount of aid, as well as reckless suicide sanctions. France under de Gaulle was not like this. It is known that protests demanding withdrawal from NATO also broke out in France last year. But it is clear that these protests did not influence the French government's decision, and France is still following the United States. Previously, after the release of the Inflation Reduction Act in the United States, which seriously...
Okay, so let's look at that. So we just went over the fact that Michael and specifically and Gabriel was looking at this book. So let's look at that. So he said that the Lord of hosts is the one that he comes in, he causes confusion in amongst the people. He calls them to go in against each other and destroy itself. So he told we see that when Jeremiah came to the people and told them it's a scourge coming from the north, which was Nebuchadnezzar. Well, who told Jeremiah that? The Lord of hosts told him.
The angel.
Yeah, the angel told him, no, Nebuchadnezzar coming. Okay. Then he also told him that Cyrus is coming in Isaiah 45. He told him that he told Isaiah that 500 years before Cyrus came. That's why when Cyrus came, they already was looking for him. They already knew about him. That's what Daniel was telling them when he came. They was some of the Levites was explaining to him that they already knew he was coming long before we came. Because these angels, Gabriel and Michael, had already told him. It already been prophesied.
Yes, sir. May I back when that energy or the Russia is the fossil fuel for Europe. So
Right.
Russia, Putin threatened to cut off the energy, the fossil fuel going to Europe. So they're the main ones who has the ability to shut off their fossil fuel. But Russia does, and Ukraine and Europe is going to have to rely on the United States if Russia goes through with the cutting off or stop getting fossil fuel to Europe. And I think it's, again, with the media, has it feeded to us, throwing the rock and hiding the hand, or just like you're saying, starting confusion for everyone to get in an uproar to actually start going against things that's happening. Because if Europe is denouncing that United States, and they got the ads saying that we're poor, the people need food, let's send them food, and now they need energy, and then they said that United States is going to cut them off. I got to get a clear understanding on the two things that's happening, because yesterday then they said that they're going to help Ukraine and Europe for their energy, and then now they got that Europe is saying that they're cutting them off, or I don't know why, two things are being combated against each other in that way. I'm done.
So when you look at that, I don't mean to cut you off. So you look at that, you can see, like I was saying, when he sent Moses to the Pharaoh, he told Moses, go and tell the Pharaoh to let my people go. But he also told Moses, when you do go tell him, I'm gonna harden his heart. So you understand what's going on right here. The Russia and China is in against America, which is the hand of the Lord behind it. But America Russia got the upper hand on the European Union and NATO because of, like you said, they furnishing them with the gas through that Nord Stream pipeline. But guess what? America the one blowed it up. That's where the drama coming from. America trying to take away the edge that Russia got on providing them with the fuel. So America behind the scenes blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. So what you see happening, Most High stacking on more and more drama. It's being reckoned what they've been doing for the last 2,500 years. He's stacking it on their head. So now there's more and more drama, but he the one orchestrating it. That time that came out, back in the day, all that worked to the point where they had trillions and trillions of dollars. It ain't working now. Every move they make is costly. That's how the Lord hosts work. So check out the next video. We see what I'm talking about. Here we go. This right here was going to bring them down.
Welcome to Asian Quick Take. I am Jacob. The United States has long enjoyed the benefits of the dollar's hegemony, using its position
long enjoyed. It ain't working no more.
To accumulate wealth around the world. Former French President Charles de Gaulle spoke out about this more than half a century ago, and to this day, The so-called American exorbitant privilege remains in place. Recent events have highlighted the U.S. government's aggressive use of economic sanctions and asset freezes to deprive other countries of revenue. On February 28th, the U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control announced sanctions against a Mexican company, while at the same time the U.S. and its Western allies seized over $300 billion in foreign currency assets belonging to the Russian central bank, which had been frozen as a result of sanctions. Most of these assets were...
Notice how everything is directed toward Russia. They try to cut them off. And Mossad behind it.
Stored at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has acknowledged the significant legal obstacles to confiscating major frozen Russian assets, but has suggested that the U.S. Congress could legislate to give the government greater power to impose economic and financial restrictions on other countries and better control their assets. Yellen has effectively adopted former U.S. Treasury Secretary John Connolly's statement, "The dollar is our currency, but it is your problem," as her own. The U.S. has imposed economic sanctions on almost 40 countries around the world, affecting nearly half of the global population. The use of...
That's why the people can turn against them, right here. It used to work. It ain't working no more. It's their demise.
Sanctions has increased dramatically over the past 2 decades, with a 933% increase in U.S. foreign sanctions from 2000 to 2021. During his 4 years in office, former President Trump imposed more than 3,900 sanctions, or an average of 3 per day. The U.S. has even applied sanctions against its traditional economic allies. In the 1980s, the U.S. forced Japan to sign the Plaza Accord through financial and trade hegemony, which led to the lost 30 years of the Japanese economy. Japanese government bonds were considered zombie debt, and the Japanese yen was viewed as the least valuable developed country currency. The U.S. has also shown interest in the gold reserves of its German ally. Between 2012 and 2017, 743 tons of Germany's 1,500 tons of gold previously held at the Federal Reserve vaults were shipped back to Germany. However, since 2018, the Fed has rejected and blocked at least 4 requests by the German central bank to ship back the remaining gold, citing unclear intentions. Germany has even found that the gold shipped back has been different from that previously deposited, leading to concerns that it may have been misappropriated. Despite its secrecy, the German central bank continues to negotiate with the Federal Reserve to bring back its entire gold reserves by the end of 2023.
So, like I was saying, who run these banks? Esau. That's who controlling the world. That's the hidden hand. That's the woman, the whore, the woman that's decked in red. It's controlling the 4 beasts. It's these luminized bankers. They apt in the Torah, apt in the scriptures, but they controlling all. They're using usury on the whole world.
These developments have eroded Germany's trust in the Fed's custody of gold. After World War II, the Federal Reserve hosted the gold reserves of some 60 countries around the world. In the process of building dollar hegemony, the Fed's gold vaults peaked at 12,000 tons in 1973, but the U.S. unilaterally announced the delinking of the dollar from gold. More and more countries are now realizing the unreliability of the dollar's hegemony, and by 2019 the gold bullion hosted had fallen to 6,190 tons, meaning that at least 5,810 tons of gold have been removed by national central banks. As of now, at least 15 countries, including Germany, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, Denmark, Hungary, Austria, Poland, Slovakia, Romania, Turkey, Australia, and Venezuela, have announced plans to ship back or have already shipped back their gold reserves. The Bank of France, for instance, announced in the first half of 2022 that it had shipped back its entire gold reserves from overseas vaults, such as the Federal Reserve. Notably, France, a U.S. ally, announced plans to ship back gold as early as 1966, reflecting former French President Charles de Gaulle's prescient understanding of the U.S. economy and the hegemony of the U.S. dollar. Nowadays, the pervasive hegemony of the U.S. economy, finance, and the dollar is driving more and more countries away from U.S. assets. Data indicates that global central banks sold off at least $500 billion in U.S. treasuries over the past year.
So all this is Esau. He's the mastermind behind all this. This is who the Lord I was talking to in these last days. We say them. So you say, what are you talking about? Okay, Esau. I told you how he hid himself. So you got Esau. He the one behind all this, but he didn't concocted this whole system over here of America. And I was telling you how that the District of Columbia is not a part of America. Edomites, and they went over to Israel and formed the Israel, so-called fake Israel, but that's a city-state. The District of Columbia is a city-state. It's a state within a state. And so then you got Israel, a city-state. Saudi Arabia. These bankers created all these city-states. And that's how they're controlling the world. And so it says at the very end, all these people gonna hate the whore. Well, who the whore is? It ain't America. Esau posing as Israelites. That's the whore. And what's gonna happen? They're gonna figure out that they're the ones behind the scenes causing all this drama. So they're gonna turn their eyes toward Jerusalem. And so you say, what's going on? He already told them, you killed my folks when the time of their calamity and shedding innocent blood in Israel when you ran them out. So in order to cleanse the place, just like the 70 years, they didn't keep the 70 Sabbath years, so they had to take them out the land and they had to do captivity in Babylon for 70 years. Well, he got to kill the same people that shed the blood of the Israelites. You got to shed that same day blood in the land of Israel in order to cleanse the land. In Ezekiel 37 for us to go back. So this is what we see manifesting itself. They're starting to find out that these wicked ass Edomites, these bankers, is the one behind the scene that's causing this inflation and causing all these people in Africa, the poverty in Africa. There ain't no poverty. They're causing the poverty. They're causing all the hardship, all the drama all around the world. And they start most pulling the cover off of them. And so when the cover come all off of them, like he said, he laid them bare, that's when it goes down. He said he's gonna burn them. Let's look at it. I'm in Obadiah, right? So all we gotta do is sit back and keep reading the scriptures and eating lamb and keeping the Shabbat. ain't nothing we gotta do. So he says, let me get it. Obadiah. Start at verse, it's only one chapter. Start at verse 17. It says, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. See that? That's where they at. They over there now in our land of Canaan. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. We're going to go back, get our possession. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau stubble, right? And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it. So this is a prophecy we see manifesting itself right now in front of our face. But getting with the New Testament, you don't see none of this. So another one is in Ezekiel, talking about the same thing. Chapter 35. Chapter 35 says prophecy against Mount Seir. Start at verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. That's Esau. And right now he's in the land of Israel, posing as Israelites, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus says the Lord, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. That's what we see right now. His hand stretched out. He bringing all this stuff to pass. 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had came to an end. That's when Antioch Epiphanes came, the Greeks. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord God, I will prepare thee for blood. That's what we're looking at. He's preparing them to wipe them out. Prepare thee for blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with the slain men, in thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in thy rivers shall they fall, that are slain with the sword. And I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, because thou hast said, these two nations, Judah and Joseph, Judah and Ephraim, even these nations in these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord God, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thy envy, which thou hast used out of the hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them. That's where we at. He's waking us up. When I have judged thee, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all my blasphemies which thou hast spoken. Esau, New Testament, right? Against the mountains of Israel, saying they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus said the Lord God, when the whole earth rejoice, I will make thee desolate. So that's the prophecy right there. We in the process of seeing them bring us back. We're gonna be rejoicing, but he's gonna make them desolate. That's what he's telling you. 15, as thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel back in 143 BC, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. This recompense. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Edom, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord. So you see that word Edom. You know, I was trying to explain this to a brother a couple years ago, and he was rolling off like water on a duck back. But Esau came into the land of Judea, right? And you got Esau and Judea. That's how you get Edom. They was merged. They merged. That's where this word come from. Edomites living in the land of Israel amongst the Israelites. And it got to the point where they wanted the whole land. That's when they conspired with the Greeks. When the time of the Greeks came, and the Greeks came in, they wanted the whole land, so they killed the remnant. They ain't want no Israelites there. But before that, part of the land, half of the land of Israel was called Edom, because it was a mixture of Edomites and Judeans. That's where this word Edom come from. So it says, as thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee, though thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all of Edom, right? But you're gonna get some nut buckets that's gonna come up with something else, but that's what that is. Okay. Any comments? Everybody good?
Yes. Oh, it's the same. Is it like in Jeremiah 23, verse 3?
Okay. Let me get it. 23, verse 3.
3 and
Okay.
4.
Okay.
Well,
It says, and I will gather the remember of my flock out of all the countries whether I have driven them, and I will bring them again to their fold, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up the shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, says the Lord. So what's your comment?
That bringing us back, you know, as you know, the captor, or what I was hearing you speak, I was thinking about how he's, you know, Esau is trying to, you know, cause destruction and everything, and at the end, God is going to bring everybody back together, right?
Right. So what you have to understand about that, if you go to Malachi, this is what I mean by what they didn't tricked us off with our understanding. We got us thinking like heathens instead of thinking like Hebrews. So in Malachi chapter 4, right,
Okay.
verse 1, you got it. Verse 1.
One moment. Chapter 4, verse 1, or
Yeah,
chapter.
Malachi 4:1.
Yes, I have it.
So it says, "Behold, for the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, says the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." We just read that in Obadiah, talking about what he's gonna do to Esau. But what they didn't tricked us off is in not getting the proper understanding is more than one day of the Lord. This is the day of the Lord right here when he's gonna bring us back right here. But the day of the Lord, when he brought the flood, he brought judgment on the earth because of the giants and all that. That was the day of the Lord. And what we just read right over here in Jeremiah 23, this is the day of the Lord when he brought them out of Babylon. And how we know that, Jeremiah talking. So Jeremiah telling them, when you go back to chapter 23, see the return of the remnant. This is the remnant that was in Babylon. He brought them back. Just like we over here now, we're waiting on the day of the Lord. When they was in Babylon, they was waiting on the day of the Lord. When they was in Egypt, they was waiting on the day of the Lord. When he rise up and deliver them, that's the day of the Lord. So chapter 23, verse 1 of Jeremiah says, "Woe unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture," said the Lord. "Therefore, thus says the Lord God of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock." They scattered. And not only was they sent to Babylon, you got people in Assyria, they scattered in different places. So he says, "Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and I have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, says the Lord, and I will gather the remnant of my flock." They in Babylon. They in Babylon and Assyria, right? I will gather my flocks out of countries whither I have driven them, and I will bring them again to their fold, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set shepherds over them, right? Which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking in, said the Lord. So let's look at that. So he says, uh, in verse 3, "I will gather the remnant of my flock out of the countries whither I have driven them, and I will bring them again to their fold, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set shepherds over them." Who these shepherds is? All the minor prophets. This is what I mean, how they didn't trick the book off. All these minor prophets is the shepherds when they came out of Israel. When they came out of Babylon, Hosea, Zechariah, Malachi, all of them was with Zerubbabel when they came back. That's the shepherds. And that's what I mean by you have to understand that these angels come and talking to these men. You got to understand what man he's talking to, when that prophet lived, who that prophet talking to. They didn't construct the book. You got everybody looking to the New Testament. But Jeremiah ain't talking to us. In a few cases, he's talking to us. But Jeremiah talking to our forefathers that's wrong the Most High. And he come in and tell them, you in sin. He finna bring Nebuchadnezzar and shut this place down. You got to go to Babylon for 70 years. And then he tell them, after the 70 years, he's gonna bring you back. That's what we just read. The day of the Lord, when he rise up to come deliver them. And he did that on several occasions. And that's what we're waiting on now, for him to rise up. So it ain't just no one day of the Lord. Let's go to Malachi right quick. I mean, not Malachi, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Haggai.
Okay.
So Haggai and Zechariah came back from Babylon with Zerubbabel. So let's look at it. So I'm in chapter 1 of Haggai, right? 70 years is up. They right around 69, they're getting close to the 70 years. So he says, I'm in chapter 1 of Haggai, in the second year of Darius, that's the third beast. They in Babylon, the first beast. In the second year of Darius, the king, in the 6th month, in the first day of the month, came the word of the Lord by Haggai, the prophet, unto Zerubbabel, son of Shethel, governor of Judah, and Joshua, the son of Jozadak, the high priest. Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, this people say the time is not come, the time that the Lord's house shall be built. So see, it's that time. The 70 years is up. So go to chapter 2 of Zechariah, verse 4. I mean, Haggai 2 and verse 20. It explains the whole thing. It says, chapter 2, verse 20. And again, the word of the Lord came unto Haggai in the 4th and 20th day of the month, saying, speak to Zerubbabel, king of Judah, saying, I will shake the heavens and earth. That's the day of the Lord. And I will overthrow the thrones of the kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen. We see it happening right now. I just showed that on the video. He's doing the same thing now. It says, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathens, and I will overthrow their chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, everyone by the sword of his brother, turn them in against each other. See the same thing happening now. 23, in that day, the day of the Lord, says the Lord of hosts, will I take thee, O Zerubbabel, my servant, the son of Shethel, says the Lord, and I will make thee a signet, a sign, for I have chosen thee, saith the Lord. So when he got ready to do this, when he got ready to bring them out of Babylon for the 70 years is up, he used Zerubbabel as a signature. He was a signet. So we see in Isaiah, he's going to use David as a signet. Let's look at it. In Isaiah chapter 11. Chapter 11, verse 10. I'll start at verse 9. Isaiah 11 and 9. You got it?
I got it.
Okay. They shall not hurt nor destroy in my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord. We know they ain't full of the Lord now, but it's going to come a time it's going to be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. And then 10. And in that day, the day of the Lord, when he rise up, in that day, there shall be a root out of Jesse, that's David, which shall stand for an ensign. See that? Ain't nothing new under the sun. Stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles, not us, to it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. So just like he used Moses for a sign, and when they was in Egypt, he used Zerubbabel for a sign when they came out of Babylon. He's gonna use David as a sign when we leave here, as a signet. So if you sitting around waiting on JC, you're gonna be in a pickle. Okay. Any comments?
Nope, I got it.
Okay, yeah, that's how that works. So, but like I said, they didn't change the whole narrative on how to rightly divide the scriptures. They got everybody thinking it's one day of the Lord, but it's been countless days of the Lord. Whenever he what you call him Moab, he's already prophesied it, and then when it comes to pass, that day that it comes to pass, that's the day of the Lord. Okay. So we had a pretty good conversation last night, and we was dealing with the brother and the sister that was talking about the blacks that was over here already over in America. So what I want to do is play that video again because we was on conference call line. It didn't get recorded, so I want to put that on record books and on Prophets of Awakening so people have access to it. Okay, here we go.
happened prior to the white man coming to discover the land. Prior to the white man coming to Africa to even know if there is anything existing as a continent called Africa or a cable land, there were Africans, there were brothers of ours, sisters of ours that walked through the length and breadth of the whole world. And then this species of people discovered that land and they were there. And that is why even Columbus himself, when you read through most of his studies and the rest of them, you discover that there's some part that either him or someone who was moving with him said there were Africans already in the land. There were Africans present in the land before he discovered that there was a place called America. Now, I want us to get right into this short discussion, which explains further, because I think enough of what...
Yeah, so keep in mind, Columbus is the Edomite. Like I said, Esau behind all the confusion. He was sent by Edomites. And then the opinion of Santa Marina came from Spain. That's what the Israelites, that's what the Edomites said. Titus and Vespasian gave Herod's lineage safe passage to Spain in 70 AD. That's why all the drama that we see in this on this side of the centuries is coming from Spain. It's these Edomites, the conquistadors, all of them, they come from Spain. Okay.
All this argument between Africans and African Americans, you know, the thing that is significant is that these persons are Africans. These persons are Africans, but they were there. They took themselves there. It wasn't the boat of the white man that took them there. There were Africans that were taken there by the ship through slavery, and there were Africans that were original, they were present there before slave trading. Before the white man even thought of how to come to Africa to come pick people, there were Africans already in that land. Now, why do you think that this history is somehow buried? Because they do not want us to have our rightful place. They still want us to be people. They still want us to see ourselves as people that were not in existence before them.
Majority of African Americans that lived here were brought over here.
No, that's not economically sound.
What do you mean by that's not economically sound?
Oh, so what I'm saying is, people were already here. Does it make sense to go all the way to this other continent to bring people on a boat when we know that half of your stock is going to die? You wouldn't do that.
So how many people do you think were brought over from Africa on slave ships? Because that definitely happened.
I don't believe it.
What do you mean you don't believe it?
I don't believe that story. You think this whole land was empty? No, there were natives here.
Right.
But today we're taught that natives is some other people. No, natives are the melanated African being that has come here since the beginning of the Mali Empire. We're talking about 14th, 13th century. We had already come here from Africa.
So he said the Mali Empire is Israelites. Okay? They're not African.
Real? Oh yeah, we had already come here. You know, maybe people were brought over as slaves, but I don't think that the black people in America came from Africa on slave ships. I believe the people that were here were slowly conquered. First, they got the East Coast, and then they started spreading out west little by little, conquering. And when you conquer a tribe, what do? You enslave them. They're POWs. Right?
Okay.
That's what you do.
But I'm still confused. There's a great history of slave ships being brought over from Africa.
History is his story.
Right.
What about my story? Is my story not valid?
But if you do 23andMe when from out,
23andMe.
That's
either way. If you take black people here in America, you do their DNA sample, and they point back to Africa, what does that say? It says black people in America are Africans. Now the argument is: were we brought here, or were we already here? Did we bring ourselves here, or did the white man bring us here? You see, when you say the white man brought us here, what you're doing is you're removing our ability to transport ourselves. You're saying, oh, we didn't know anything about boats. That's what you're trying to tell me. You're trying to tell me that we didn't know that there was a landmass here. Go look at the primary source. You got here, we met black people. We got the Caribbean, we met black people. You think the Caribbean is right next to America and they weren't in America? That's interesting. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, when you go and you look at real European history, right, would believe that if they took a bath, that was bad. Right. They didn't even want to change their clothes. They thought that dirty was purity. When we talk about the Moors going into Spain and into Europe, the stories in the history, our history, says that when we met the so-called Caucasian, he was sleeping in the barn with the animals. We told him, no, you can't sleep in the barn with animals. We taught them etiquette. We taught them running water. We brought that technology to Europe. Now, if we brought the technology to Europe that saved Europe from the Black Plague, you mean to tell me that if we saved the white race, that we weren't already in America already? When we brought the technology, when Rome was dependent on Africa for food? Remember when the Black Plague hit Rome? The cause was one of the officials was stealing the grain that was coming from Africa. So there was famine, hit Rome. If your source of sustenance is from Africa, how are you superior? You're not. You get your food from me. So if you get your food from me, who's more likely to travel this globe? Me, I'm the source of food. And that's the first thing you need to survive on this planet.
All right, people. Like I keep saying this here, I think there was a topic I talked about, the first Black emperor who helped in building the walls, the Hadrian Wall, which it's not even there in history.
Okay, so any comments on that? You guys got any comments on that? Like I said, we went over last night a little bit.
Yes, like last night, we were saying about the gentleman who was talking, saying that, you know, it couldn't be, say, as true of them bringing the slaves from bringing blacks from Africa to here.
Right.
But in the Bible, it does say that we were going to be spread out, like you said last night, and brought over, and to
Right.
become.
Deuteronomy 28 curses.
Yes.
Deuteronomy 28, right. And then we was talking about how the purpose of the transatlantic slave trade was he had promised he's going to reduce us in number. We was like the sands of the sea. He had brought us. He had fulfilled the promise that he had gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he was going to multiply their seed like the sands of the sea. So when by the time Antiochus Epiphanes came, there was a great multitude there. I think it's in the book of Baruch. I'll look at it and I'll read the verse tonight in the evening Sabbath class. But in the book of Baruch, he says, this big buzzing multitude that you see here, that means that he didn't fulfill the prophecy to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So it was Negroes all on top of each other. There was so many of them. We seen an example of that in when they tried to kill him, when they tried to reduce him in Egypt. They was multiplying. So he had fulfilled that. And so now prophecy that's in Deuteronomy is that, let's look at it right quick. So I don't want to misguide nobody. So it says in Deuteronomy 28, I think it's around 49. Yeah, right here, starting at verse 60, Deuteronomy 28 and 60. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, what thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until they be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for a multitude, because thou wouldst not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. Then 63 is the verse. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked out from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. So we see right here, his purpose is, if you're looking at the transatlantic slave trade from the wrong perspective, you ain't gonna see this, but the purpose of the transatlantic slave trade, a lot of it was reducing the Israelites in number. Like I said, you got a good seed and a wicked seed. He's getting rid of the wicked seed, just like he did in Babylon. He took the righteous ones to preserve them, and he sent them to Babylon and killed the Chaldeans. And the wicked ones, he left from there and destroyed them. So we see the same thing right here. He's reducing this big multitude. Like if you go do your research on Negro land, it's Hebrews all over the place, all over the west coast of Africa. So he's reducing that number, and how we know that, we got the Arab slave trade. That's what he reducing that. They all ended up over there on the west coast, a horde of Hebrew Israelites, and he's reducing them. He's like just like he multiplied them. Now he's reducing them, getting rid of them. So when you understand that, you see that all the events that took place, they can't be just refuted.
Right, Shalom. So when you understand what you just read, right, and we were brought over on the boats, and so I think something was said like, why would they even go over to Africa and get all those people to bring them over, knowing that only a certain amount of people were gonna make it? The reason why is because of what you just read, and that's still happening today. They're still killing us off today, sisters and brothers. It's still going on today. So when you understand that it's not our thoughts that matters, it's his word that is in the scriptures, that you have to understand the reason why things happen to us and the reason why it's still happening. So when you understand that, even when they try to include other races into the Israelite nation, that it doesn't fit, it doesn't work, because they can come across the border and get everything that we struggling to get. So how are they part of us? It's a lot of things that really just don't make sense to me. Because what's in the scriptures is in the scriptures. That's his word. It doesn't matter, what we think, how we feel. It's what's being, explained to us, what we read and what we see that is happening that makes things clear.
Right. Exactly.
We were reducing those numbers coming across here, but then when we got here, that's why they had those breeding farms. They wanted us to multiply again.
Right.
We, like you said, we wasn't running around over there with bones in our nose and so forth. We were kings and queens. That's why they changed our names.
Right. You get something?
Yes, sir.
So when you write the divide what's going on, you can see why certain things happen. And so even in First Maccabees, you see where it first started. We read Moses sung this song to them. Deuteronomy 32. Same thing is in Deuteronomy 32, the Song of Moses. So it's a song, and he told them that he was going to reduce them in number. And so it even started way back here, what I was showing you in First Maccabees. It says, Jerusalem was uninhabited like a wilderness. There was not one of her children who came in or went out. The sanctuary was trodden down. The sons of the aliens were in the Gentiles were in the citadel. It was a stopping place for heathens. Joy vanished from Jacob, and the flute and the harp ceased to play. Then they gathered together and went to Mizpah out of Jerusalem. So right here, all the nations was, when they saw that Israel was helpless, everybody joined in. They was killing Israelites all over the place. So that reduction and that him rejoicing over the multitude ain't just start when they got to the west coast of Africa. It started way back when the Greeks showed up in Jerusalem. So, and then we see even when after the transatlantic slave trade, we got here. We still were getting lynched and hung. You know, that process is still in place. That whole process. That's what people are understanding about that. He's reducing the number. He cut us off.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right.
Sir.
You have to understand that. So anyway, the guy brought up the Mali Empire. Let me show you something right quick. Okay. See right here, this man Sanusi. That's the king. That's the man that triggered the whole thing. When he showed up with the gold, he got gold everywhere. And when he showed up on the scene, when he made that pilgrimage to Mecca, that's when the white Europeans, NATO, white folks witnessed him and all the gold that he had. See the crown on his head? So that's you know, that goes back to David and all them. It's that what they call the gold of Upas, different type of gold. He had that. So when he came, they want to know where the source came from that he had. Remember what those conquistadors done to the people here in America when they found out they had all that gold. They showed up. It's Esau. So that's what brought about it brought all attention to the west coast of Africa and the people that was there. When this guy showed up out of nowhere with all that gold he had. Yeah, here go another picture of him right here. See the crown? And then when he showed up. So if you go to Jasher, when those 11 sons of Jacob came into Egypt, and they came in contact with Joseph, and then Joseph told him to go get Benjamin. And when he came back, he was so overwhelmed because he hadn't seen Benjamin. Him and Benjamin had the same mother. So he was standing there, and Benjamin was sitting there in awe of him, and he told him because they knew how to read maps and they knew how to do astrology and all that astronomy, and he told him to look on the map and find him on the map. And he looked on the map and he looked up at Joseph, saw that crown on his head, and he said, "You Joseph." So anyway, there was the crown right here, same one David had on Solomon. So when he showed up on the scene, that's what triggered the whole everything we're dealing with today. And like I said before, you go back and look at what those angels would do. Those angels would come and give the man a vision. Then he give him an interpretation. Then it come to pass. So when this guy came on the scene and triggered all the controversy about the gold he had, then Deuteronomy 28 came in and overtook the Israelites. And overtook them. The transatlantic slave trade started, and the reducing of the Israelites. All that started coming into play. Okay.
Do you know how tall he was?
You're on mute, Brother
Can't
Leonard.
hear you, sir. You're on mute.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. Yeah, they average height was, between 6 foot, somewhere in there, 6'2". That's the average height of a man. That's what a man is. The giants that came from the angels, sleeping with women. But man, average height was around 6 foot, somewhere in there, 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", somewhere in there. Yeah. Okay, so let me play this. I got ahead of myself because I think this will need to know information. Like I said, all this stuff shine light on what we're not in this right mindset to receive it and then place it where it's supposed to be placed at. And here we go.
Sex lives of Roman gladiators. Gladiators were the heroes of ancient Rome, and people watched their fights with great enthusiasm. At the same time, there was a social stigma against their existence, because gladiators were first slaves and only then fighters. Many women wanted to have sex with them or feel their sweat as a kind of aphrodisiac. Gladiators were fierce and virile fighters desirable for the satisfaction of sexual urges. Because of their position in...
See that they have no control over the sexual urges they throw. And now we done came over here and the Most High already told us we're gonna start picking up what they doing. See, they ain't got no confidence, no kind of control, no nothing. They just out of control. Check
society,
it out.
The sex life of gladiators was very interesting and carried with it certain piquancy and bizarreness. We learn about it based on sexual graffiti, archaeological evidence, and the works of contemporary writers. There's a lot of evidence about how gladiators led their sex life, and we bring you an interesting story about everything that was part of their sex life. As mentioned, gladiators did not have a favorable position in ancient Rome. Most of them were slaves and prisoners, but people were fascinated by them because most of them had a similar status in society and were in the lower social classes as...
Basketball is back.
Okay.
Watch the extra line on a variety of networks with YouTube TV. Try it free.
Other men or women who sold their services like actors or sex workers. They were very brave because their lives were on the line, and every time they fought, they would face mortality. It was precise because of this risk that they had enormous respect among people. Because of their victories in the arena, they were loved by members of the fairer sex, and they attracted the attention of distinguished women who were married to numerous Roman rulers. The wives of Roman emperors were not immune to sex with gladiators. They enjoyed satisfying their sexual desire with such strong and brave guys who were in a bare fight for their lives every time in the arena. Faustina the Younger, the wife of Marcus Aurelius, fell in love with a gladiator. It was rumored that the gladiator was the father of Aurelius' son. According to two famous Roman historians, Herodian and Dio Cassius, the wife of Marcus Aurelius was madly in love with one of the gladiators and told her husband about it. The Roman emperor consulted the prophets to indicate what he should do to alleviate his wife's passion for the gladiator. They told him that the gladiator must be executed at the moment when he would be in a position as if he wanted to have intercourse with Faustino. His blood would fall on Faustina, and she would immediately have sexual intercourse with her husband, which again speaks of how much the Romans believed that gladiatorial blood
Go back to what JC telling you to do.
Brings good luck and is an incredible sexual aphrodisiac. Commodus, who was the son of Marcus Aurelius, may actually have been the son of a gladiator. He later became emperor, but he much preferred participating in gladiatorial combats to being emperor. He mostly fought with gladiators who had some kind of disability or with animals. Messalina, who was the wife of Emperor Claudius, was labeled an nymphomaniac, and her lovers were mostly gladiators. How much she loved to have sex with the gladiators is best expressed by the fact that she saved one gladiator from certain death after being defeated in battle. Of course, that gladiator was also her lover, so he was very lucky to be alive. The fact that gladiators were desirable men speaks well of the fact that they also highly valued their bodily fluids such as sweat and blood, which were used as sexual aphrodisiacs. Gladiator sweat was used as a perfume and as a certain type of beauty treatment for the skin. It was even sold just as a souvenir in huge pots. Like their sweat, their blood was used as an aphrodisiac. On the wedding night, a young woman would part her hair with a sword dipped in the blood of a deceased gladiator. It was believed that if she did this, her marriage would be long and fruitful. The Romans believed that the blood and sweat of gladiators...
So say, well, why you playing this? Well, I'm showing you how the difference. These people ain't all originate from the same place. Way back then, they got sexual issues, and I was showing you how that they got a negative birth rate right now. Okay, you know, and that's why that's where the hatred coming in, where all these Karens and coming out of nowhere because of their predicament. And so we see that Adam, he told Adam, be fruitful and multiply. And then they ain't had no problem at multiplying. But they got issues because their origins and where our origins from is totally different. Look what they was doing. They getting the blood from a dead man, cutting their hair and putting it all in their hair and all that to like what we doing. They got us doing today with the pills, sexually enhanced pills and all that. That's them. But we right in there with them now because we don't know no better. We ain't tracked their history and our history. to rightly divide that. Okay.
Gladiators would increase sexual desire. The gladiator's sweat would be mixed with dirt and olive oil, and the mixture would be used as an aphrodisiac. This was very bizarre from today's perspective, and surely such a move would be considered insane today. In ancient times, however, such a move can be justified, and the use of the blood and sweat of gladiators was considered a certain type of superstition that brings happiness to women and fruitful marriages. In those marriages, the manly gladiators did not bring happiness only if they cheated very respectable husbands with them. In Pompeii, archaeologists have discovered graffiti that reveals how the Romans felt about their favorite gladiators. Floronius, a privileged soldier of the 7th Legion, was here. The women did not know of his presence. Only 6 women came to know, too few for such a stallion. Another says, Antiochus hung out here with his girlfriend Cythera, indicating that gladiators, in fact, had girlfriends. There are also inscriptions like, Celadus the Thracian gladiator is the delight of all the girls, and Celadus the Thracier makes the girls moan. Such inscriptions speak about how popular gladiators were, and especially how much they were loved by the fairer sex. It is not the clearest one who wrote this type of inscription. It is suspected that this was even done by gladiators in order to build an even better reputation in society. They were all excellent fighters, slim, tall, strong, and virile men, and they were quite rightly the favorites of the ladies. Knowing what kind of guys the gladiators were, choosing those guys as your security isn't a bad move at all. Such a decision was made by many elite ladies in ancient Rome.
Okay. Any comments? So that's we want to watch all that as a secret, nasty, kinky sex lives of Roman gladiators. Okay. Anybody got a comment?
I think that's what they are doing today. If we're saying about how they're saying the famous people, quote unquote, the movie stars are doing sacrifices and things, doing, trafficking and all that. They're, with the blood of the kids and, how they stuff. So they're doing it, but they're doing it at another higher level, not just to bring beauty on them on the perfume of, seeing the sweat, but they're doing it at a higher level.
Right, the technology increased. Yeah, the technology increased. It's the same way with, like I said, in Egypt, they was killing the young Israelite boys in Egypt. That didn't work because they multiplied more. Well, the powers and principalities that was behind that is eternal beings. So the same beings are still around. So they didn't spiterize it now. They know they got abortion clinics now. They reducing us just like they did before, but they didn't learn from their mistakes. That's why there's a certain time he gonna come back, because when they get it all the way down pat, they're looking to wipe us out. Like I said with the flood, it was he didn't show up when he did. He showed up. He had to show up when he did, because it was only Noah left. Everybody else had intermingled. They had changed their blood. It was only Noah and Shem left, and his wife. He had to come back. Noah was the only one left in his household. So they doing the same thing today. It's just they got better technology on how to do it. And the Most High hand is in it, preventing them in certain areas.
So the descendants of Ham, being that he was the one who brought on the curse.
No, Ham ain't bringing the curse on. It's Japhet.
Japhet? Okay.
Yeah. It's I mean, I got videos on YouTube. It's showing how that he told Noah to get a male and a female from all flesh. I was just showing you how. You see, I just showed you Cain got a lineage. So he had to get a male and a female from Cain lineage. That's who Japhet is. Japhet is Cain lineage. He had to get a male and a female from all lineages. And Cain, I'm showing you Cain's sexual prowess right here, the Greeks. So when they got off the boat, Japhet the one slept with Noah's wife. That's how you get Canaan. He raped her. He raped Noah's wife. And that's how you get Canaan. Let's look at it right quick. Genesis. Like I say, once the light shine on it, All you gotta do is go back and read it. It'll jump out. So I'm in Genesis chapter 9, I think it is. Yeah, chapter 9, verse 20. Genesis 9 and 20.
Got it.
And Noah began to be a husbandman and planted a vineyard. So that's what he was. He was a tiller of the ground. So when the water receded, he picked up where he was left off. 21. And he drank wine, and he was drunken inside his and uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers. So they switched it out and got Ham doing this. So it says the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers without. And now here we go. This is how we know it's not Noah. Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and went backwards. So the mama laying there, they went backwards and covered up, right? See, and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were backwards, and they saw not the nakedness of their father. So what is the nakedness of their father? That's a Hebrew idiom, right? Go to Leviticus chapter 18. See what man's nakedness is. Chapter 8, I think. Let me get it. Chapter 18, I believe. Let me get it. Yeah, chapter 18, starting at verse 7. Leviticus 18 and 7.
Got it.
The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shall thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. So a man's nakedness is his wife. So he uncovered Noah's nakedness. He uncovered his wife. And so if you keep on reading the story, you're going to see what happened. You can see what happened right there, but you keep reading the story, you're going to see that 24, and Noah awoke from his wine and knew that his younger brother, what he had done unto him. So they got you thinking they did something to him, but it's his wife. Then he says, 25, and he said, "Cursed be Canaan. A servant shall he be unto his brother." Canaan ain't get on the boat. Where Canaan come from? That's the seed from what Noah did, from what Japheth did to his wife. She conceived, they had a kid,
So they
and Noah,
slept with her. So they slept with
and
her.
Noah cursed. What's that?
I said so they slept with her.
Yeah,
Yeah, lie with.
Japheth did.
Okay.
Right. Same in the garden. Serpent lay with Eve. It's a woman involved in these stories. So he slept with he raped her. Like I said, if you go to Adam and go to some of the videos I did on this story, but in the book of Adam and Eve, show you what Cain descendants was doing before the flood. They were raping women, going in and raping their children and raping their sons. So the Most High told them to get a male and a female from all flesh. All flesh mean Cain descendants. He got to get a male and a female from them. That's Japheth. Ain't none of his son. So when they got out the boat, Japheth picked up where he left off at, just like Noah did. Noah was a tiller of the ground before he got out, before the flood. When they got out the boat, he planted a garden. Japheth when they got out the boat, he raped Noah's wife. And then the other two boys came and walked backwards and covered her up. But when Noah awoke, he knew what he had done. And he said, "Cursed be Canaan." Canaan didn't get on the boat. Canaan is in Noah's wife's belly. And he cursed the seed. He cursed the prodigal what had happened. That's who Canaan is. Okay. Anyway.
You're right. This is mind blowing. Once you continue to read and open your eyes to this, that's why they're trying to put the curse. Because when I looked it up on the internet, it was saying the curse of Ham.
Right. It ain't Ham. Right.
It's not. Okay.
No.
Thank
It's
you.
Japheth. Right. There's some. And so anyway, another precept for that, in case you're trying to explain it to somebody, you go to we was just in Genesis right here, right? We was in Genesis Genesis chapter 4 with Cain's lineage. We was in Genesis chapter 4. We was 16 through 22. We was reading Cain's lineage, right?
Yes.
Right.
Verse 22, 4 and 22, right? It says, and Zillah, she also bore Tubal-Cain, the instructor of artificial brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. So that word Tubal means out of the lineage of Cain. That's what Tubal means. Tubal, out of the lineage of Cain. So it can't mean nothing else. That's all it means. So you go to after the flood. Go to Genesis chapter 10. This is after the flood. Genesis chapter 10. I'm in chapter 10, verse 1.
Got it.
Okay. Now, these be the generations of the sons of Noah, right? Notice they saying sons of Noah. Shem, Ham, Japheth, and under them were born after the flood. In verse 2. These are sons of Japheth. Sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Midian, Javan, Tubal. See that?
Yes.
Tubal mean out of the lineage of Cain. Okay. There it is. Okay. So, with that being said, I'm gonna open up for some Q&A. Anybody got any questions or comments about anything you want to talk about? Something that came up, they want some clarity on it.
Well, you gave me the clarity with the Ham being not the one who's cursed. That was going to be one of my questions, but I went too fast on the Q&A time.
It's all good. Anybody got anything else? Okay, so we're gonna go into the topic of the Sabbath class. It's some things that need to be rightly divided. So what I want to do with that is, starting out of the gate, I want to go to Genesis chapter 1, right, and verse 26. Like I said before, back in the day, most of the people, the population was illiterate. They had no access to books, right? But now we know that we've been exposed and more literate. We can see what these folks done. But I'm in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. It says, God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have the means of the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the creeping things, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, right? So, like I said, when they came, they did an overkill with the typology when they came. Once they concocted JC, they did an overkill trying to put him in the Old Testament, and the Christian, don't understand that. So soon as every time you go somewhere, they want to put Jesus in there. They want to place him there. So this is one of the places, Genesis 1:26, and God said, "Let us make man in our image." So they say that's the Father, the Son, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. That's us right there. But we know better than that. We know it's Yahweh and these 7 angels that Enoch told us about, that he formed in the very beginning. But anyway, they say this verse right here, that us in this verse is Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. So I beg to differ. And the reason why I do, I'm in Genesis chapter, I'm in John. The verse they use, to bring him on the scene. John. I'm in John, right? John chapter 1. Okay. John 1. Okay. Let's look at it. Like I said, you can see you could have trained a baboon to do this, like I said. So I'm in John chapter 18. It says, no man have seen God, right? No man have seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, look at this. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he have declared it declared him. So what they're saying is, anybody that's thinking like a Hebrew can see he ain't in the Old Testament. So the way to hide him is that they said our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all them, and the 10 men before the flood, Adam and Noah, he was hid in the bosom. He was hid in the Father's bosom. That's why he hadn't been revealed yet. He became revealed in the New Testament. So, like I said before, Genesis 1:26, how the hell that's him? If he hidden in the bosom, how is that him in Genesis 1:26? Okay, let that firmate. So anyway, so I'm gonna read all of John to show you how crazy this is. I'm in John chapter starting at verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not nothing made that was made. So you're supposed to be hid in the bosom. Okay. 9. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shineth in the darkness, and darkness comprehended it not. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness to bear witness to the light, that all men through him might believe. And he was not that light, but was sent to bear witness to that light. You got to write it down, right? in Alexandria, that was the true light. This don't even sound Hebrew, right? Which light of every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Let that firmate. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave the power to become the sons of God, even to them that believed on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor the will of men, but of God. So Adam and Noah and all them wasn't born by the will of God. Come on, man. The word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we behold his glory, and the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness to him and cried, saying, this was of him who I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have all we received, and grace for grace. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. No man hath seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. So, like I said, let that firmate. He was hidden. He was hidden from our forefathers. But that's him in Genesis 1:26. Okay. So let's go all the way in. So I don't know who know this or not, but most of the time, a lot of the lies can be uncovered by images and artwork, art. Just like I said, the DNA, different nationalities of people, they art. You can rightly divide them by dealing with their art. So we're gonna go on a little image. So I'm gonna read Genesis. We know when Esau was born, right? It tells you his hair was red. He had hairy all over. And then we know that in Isaiah 63, let me read that right quick. Isaiah 63 says, like I said, Most High, he deal with signs. We didn't got away from that. So Isaiah 63 tells us about Esau. It says, Isaiah 63, 1 and 2. Who is it that cometh from Edom, right? With dyed garments from Bosra. Bosra is Esau had a son named Bosra, and he named a city after him, a capital city named Bosra. That is glorious in his apparel, in his clothing, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, the Lord host talking, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red? Look at this. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the winepress. I have trodden down the winepress alone, and of the people that were none with me, I will tread them in mine anger and trample them in my fury. Talking about Esau, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon their garments, and I will stain all my garments. So Esau that's his color, red, right? So let's look at that right quick. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. One minute. Okay. Yep. Okay. So this right here, I told you Esau was sent to Spain when they left Israel after they had occupied it and ran out the remnant of the Israelites. They was there from 143 BC to 70 AD. Titus and Vespasian gave them safe passage to Spain, and then from Spain they intermingled and married into the aristocratic families in Europe. And here you go. See the hair, the red hair. See you got the Negro features in there. See that? That's why his hair look like that, right? So Most High said, "Wherefore I read." He go Julius Caesar right here. This how you tracking. See, he gonna throw that red garment on. He gonna put that red garment on. So it's Caesar. He'll eat a mic. See the snars? But he didn't hid himself in history when we not right dividing the scriptures, understanding that who they are. So with that being said, here go JC right here. See the garment? They're gonna post that garment up. If you zeroed in, thinking like a Hebrew, right? So I told you that Esau married those and so like I was saying before, you can't get out of this and say that it's a typo, somebody misprinted something. So here we go right here. I don't know who know about this, but this is what they call manifest destiny, right? So remember that the woman, they say the woman is wisdom. This from a pagan perspective. So this manifest destiny, right here. See the woman, the red-haired woman. We're not paying attention to it, but this is the Holy Spirit right here. The red-haired woman. Wisdom. Let's notice, see that? It's the European. Esau. They can't conquer it, but this the God that's over there. See, she got the book in her hand, but she got the flowing red hair. You're looking on past that. So the same woman was with Julius Caesar. Destiny. She wisdom. Holy Spirit, part of the Trinity. See that? So let's go somewhere else right quick. Like I said, you can train the baboon once you figure out what's going on and what they did. So we know that let's look at this right quick. Okay. So, like I say, the Most High deal with signs, right? He deal with signs. Just like he took the melanin out of Cain, turned Cain white. And we ain't average African American that figured that out yet. But so let's look at this right quick. So we know the giants that was on Mount Seir, right? The giants that was on Mount Seir was redheads. The red-headed giants. I showed you the redheads Big old giant recently that attacked some soldiers over there in Afghanistan, and they killed him. See? Fire red hair. So we ain't figured that out yet. That this red hair came from these giants, which are a sign that was on them from, you know, they intermingle with women and intermingle with them because of red fire, red hair. You know how crazy a black man gonna look at you at fire red hair. You look like a damn fool. But anyway, this red hair came from them. I just showed you the woman, the manifest destiny. Their destiny, they got a manifest destiny, but it's a red-haired woman that's guiding them. Right? So here goes, let's look at this. So like I say, these ain't no typos. You can't get away with it and say it's a typo. And you can't change this image I'm gonna get ready to show you to your house shot. So look at this. This the image of JC right here. See that? How you get your house shot out of there? You know, this the image is showing you a JC. So you say, oh, that's just one picture you got. But let's look at it. This is what I mean by the subliminal messages that people not really paying attention to. Okay, let's look at it. See him? This JC right here again. See the red hair? Married, red hair. Think it's a coincidence? Yeah, y'all shot. They say now they turn him black. But when they concocted him, he had red hair because that's who they is when they concocted him. So keep going. Yeah, we're gonna kill two birds with one stone. Most I said in Isaiah 63, wild dog traveling in our power that is red. They go to red garment, red hair. All see that? The stones on his head. But now we got a whole group of people saying your house shot. Is that a typo? Okay, let's keep going. Here you go again. Like I say, let this primate. Let JC again. Red hair. John the Baptist got red hair. It's all accident. Okay. When I told you that, I got one more. Here you go. See? Red hair. They ain't missing a beat. We the ones fumbling with it, but everywhere you go, you got the red hair. Edomite. Okay? So let's go over here. You go Mary right here. See? It's Mary. That's, you know who that is? Even with this stone image, they made sure the hair red. Because her hair was red. That's Cleopatra. They told you that Cleopatra was what? Was a black queen. This Cleopatra right here. She's Ptolemy, one of the generals that Alexander gave his kingdom over to. They all was Greeks. See the snars? But notice, it's supposed to be an ivory image, but they still made the hair red. Like I said before, they're telling you right here, telling you through the images. So how in the hell did anybody come up with the house shot being a man of color? When they created this character, they created him in the image of them with the red hair. And they concocted him at the council and they'll see him. And the Holy Ghost, wisdom and all that. Red-headed woman. Okay. One more thing. We can open it up for some conversation. Let me get this right quick. Yeah, this one right here, I mean, you know, you gotta get into your book in order to really understand this right here. So, but I'm gonna show it to you. So, this is what, when we go to Zechariah chapter 4, the Most High says. Let me read it. I don't want. Let me read it right quick. It says Zechariah chapter 4. Okay, look at it. Zechariah chapter 4, right? It says, starting at verse 1. The angel talked with me, came again and waked me as a man that is waking out of his sleep. And I said unto me, what seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick. You go to candlestick right here, right? It says, I see a candlestick, all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and it has 7 lamps. See the 7 lamps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 stems. So what is this? The menorah. It's the Sabbath day. It's the 6 days of the week, right here. So 7. That's the candlestick you talk about right here in Zechariah. So he says, with a bowl upon the top of it, and 7 lamps thereupon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps, which are upon the top thereof. So just the menorah, and it goes all the way back to the 7 days of creation, which is a sign for the Israelites. But the people over in Israel today, this is what they got: 9 branches. Negroes ain't figured that out yet. They had a whole branch. What they're supposed to represent, I don't know. But so he already. I was telling you that it's you got the woman, the real woman, which is Israel, and you got the whore. And we know the real woman is scattered. The whore is the one that's over there now in place, and the whore is the one that's controlling the 4 beasts. So, like I was saying before, the information, it opens up the scriptures for you once the light been shining on. Any comments? Anybody got any comments?
No, I'm still thinking.
Okay, all right. So you ever heard of a 9-branch menorah?
No, sir.
Yeah, it's supposedly when I was showing in First Maccabees, when they rededicated the temple, they're saying that the lamp didn't go out. The lamp they trying to keep the lamp from going out, so they added another. What Hanukkah is all this Edomite stuff. Israelites is gone, so they add another branch to the menorah, 9-branch menorah, with the menorah that goes back to our forefathers and back to Adam and all that. But the creation is 7 branches because it represents the 7 days of creation. And the middle branch, that's the 6 branches, is branching off of the Shabbat foundation. And the 6 branches come off of the 7. And we know there's 7 angels that he created in the very beginning. That's the foundation. So, like I said before, this is all that they concocted. They ain't got nothing to do with us. Okay.
I looked it up and it said the 9 branches, brass, copper, Hanukkah, menorah, about the Jewish.
Right. Yeah. Jewish. Right. Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. They ain't got to do no Israelites. Like I said before, Josephus a Edomite. You got all these brothers trying to rightly divide the scriptures and trying to, implant Josephus in the conversation. Josephus a Edomite. He part of the problem. Israelites is gone. Is there something?
Yes. It's
Okay.
basically talking to the ones who do refuse to read, but just to listen.
Right. Exactly. So, nobody have nothing else. We're gonna resume this conversation and close out the Shabbat at 6 o'clock. Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good, man. Good class.
Okay. Let me get my line going, man. Okay. Yeah, shalom. I'll see everybody this evening at 6 o'clock.
Shalom.
Shalom,
Shalom.
shalom.